Hello, hello, hello. Okay. Hello, hello, hello. We all right. All right. Check one, check two. Hello, hello, hello. All right. We good. Oops. All right, y'all. We back. Sorry about that. I forgot to turn the voice meter on.
Bro, the one man show. Coming next with a sad tale. Yo, I don't understand. My fellow man, we grew up in the same hood, going to the same school, was raised by the same rules and values. I mean, how did we wind up so different? We were on the same page, the same stage, but then you shifted. You started hanging with another set. Those hardcore boys who do nothing but destroy, pillage, loot. Why did you follow that route? It's a dead end. Now I lost my only friend in the world. I remember we used to sport girly curls and waves. How we used to save ourselves from the bully that tried to rough us up. But we hung tough. I remember our dreams of making it big. How we used to wrestle in the mud like sweaty pigs up. Those were the days. Remember how we used to go to church and pray. Stay all day, help serve the congregation.
Oh yeah,
it's on the devil's temptation. You were gonna be gospel stars, but one day you got a car and new clothes. I should have asked you how you suddenly blowed up when we were poor growing up. I suppose, but I didn't want to stick my nose in your business. Hope I never find out who did this to you, because I make them join you in this casket. But what good it would do? He just have someone else more than two, feeling the same pain of another brother lost to the drug game.
Right, the sermon is over.
We will die together if we don't make this better.
America, wake up.
Yo, why'd you have to do it? We had such high hopes. How many more times before we cope with this poison that we call dope is broken our unity, ruining our community, and we do nothing. Our children are dying. When will somebody do something? I'm speaking out, but what can I do? My grandpa used to bounce me on his knees,
schooling me on Jim Crow and slavery.
He said one bad apple spoils the blunt.
To start a brawl, one man must throw the first punch.
So I dedicate this song to my buddy. Remember, we used to study the world. We were straight nerds, but with talent. We used to serve up jocks on a platter, but you're gone now. What does that matter? It can't.
Hold on, y'all. Let me hit Naya. Hey, driver.
If it did, you would still be with me. Not being buried 10 feet deep, another victim to these streets that many claim. Left you on, you left me all alone. I still got your number on my phone. I look back on the days we shared together. In my heart, you'll live forever.
We need to try together, or we will die together if we don't make things better.
America, wake up!
Yeah. This is a true story, so before you open your mouth, be sure something intelligent comes out. I'm pissed off. I know the some lost because pouring out some liquor. If you start slinging, you die quicker. That's a fact, so think twice. Is the money worth your life, your legacy? I'm trying to start a movement. Who will join with me? Who's willing to help? Stop thinking about yourself. Hit the score. Sooner or later, one of yours will drop. Stop depending on the cops. How many more babies will be born addicted to that rock? Fainting from the womb, heading for the tomb at birth. Slogans like say no don't work. You can't hide this problem. It takes a whole community.
All right, just hit Liz up, just hit Naya up. We got the driver here, we got NNC here.
Be something wrong for someone to smoke on just a substance that is so strong to make people sell their bodies, their babies, turning our city into a living hell.
We need to try together,
Something about our youth.
or we will die together if we don't make things better.
America, wake up! America.
Oops, wait a minute, y'all wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. Don't know what's going on today, but I feel blessed to still be here. Blessed to have my friends here. Come on and hold me tight. But all you wanna do is fuss, cuss, argue, and fight. See, y'all ain't right. All I wanna do is hold you tight. But all you wanna do is fuss, cuss, argue, and fight. See, I can't help you out with that, but check this out. Take it easy and take it slow. Welcome to the BD show. Take it easy and take it slow. And welcome to the Brother show. You other YouTubers, y'all straight greasy. Your whack beef videos sound cheesy. Please, somebody release me. Take it easy and take it slow. And welcome to the BD show. Take it easy and take it slow. And welcome to the Brother Derrick show. I ain't stressing, I'm here to teach a lesson. I ain't stressing, I'm here to teach a lesson. I ain't stressing, I'm here to teach a lesson. Keeping you other YouTubers out there guessing. So take it easy and take it slow. Welcome to the BD show. Take it easy and take it slow. And welcome to the Millennial show. You other YouTubers, y'all straight greasy. Your whack beef videos sound cheesy. Please, somebody call Jeezy. Take it easy and take it slow. And welcome to the BD show. Take it easy and take it slow. And welcome to the Brother Derrick show. Hold me tight. Hey, don't turn on the light. Hey, don't turn off the light. Bring my beat back. Hold me tight. Hey, don't turn off the light. Don't turn off the light. But take it easy and take it slow. Welcome to the BD show. Take it easy and take it slow. And welcome to the Brother Derrick show. You other YouTubers, y'all straight greasy. Your whack beef videos sound cheesy. Please, somebody release me. Take it easy and take it slow. And welcome to the BD show. Take it easy and take it slow. And welcome to the Millennial show. Hold me tight. Hey, don't turn off the light. Turn off the light. Don't turn off the light. But take it easy and take it slow. Welcome to the Minister, Brother Derrick show. All righty, everybody. Welcome to the show. Now, the good thing, you always got to find the good and the bad. The good thing is, the sermon is protected. So we shouldn't get no copyrights like we did last night. So now we can go buck wild here. So let's get to the article that we had pulled up. We got a couple of them. We actually got several of them from No Night by Cass. And yeah, I knew you were gonna say something about the about the la la part. It's a part of it. All right, The Guardian, you gonna flag us today, you douchebag? We'll just edit you out. So that okay, so it's not here. It's in Liz's hangout. Okay. The Bay of Bengal's fiercest storm this century. Super Cyclone Amphan slammed into the coast of eastern India and Bangladesh on Wednesday afternoon, bringing heavy gales and threat of deadly storm surges and flooding. Amphan? That don't sound like no hurricane. The super cyclone made landfall at 4 p.m. local time with winds of about 120 miles per hour, causing storm surges up to 5 meters, 17 feet, before moving northwards toward Kolkata, one of India's biggest cities. The first 5 deaths from the cyclone, 3 in the Indian state of West Bengal and 2 in neighboring Bangladesh, were reported on Wednesday afternoon. More than 2 million people were evacuated from their homes in Bangladesh, and a further 500,000 people in West Bengal and Odisha were moved from the vulnerable low-lying areas to shelters. The Indian Navy was put on high alert to be ready to offer humanitarian assistance to those caught up in Cyclone Amphan, which is only the second super cyclone to form in the Bay of Bengal since records began. The Director General of the National Disaster Response Force said the situation was fast transforming, as the cyclone moved across West Bengal and Odisha. In another form of a new normal, we have to handle disasters considering the pandemic too. In view of the prevailing CV-19 scenario, all teams are equipped with PPE, personal protective equipment, said Pradhan. I got news for you. Cyclone coming. I ain't worried about no daggone COV. What about y'all? Let me get out of the way of the COV, and then let me get out of the way of the cyclone, and then we'll think about the COV. Okay? Let me get out the way of the cyclone, and then we'll think about, the flooding. No, the cyclone, the flooding, whatever. Then we deal with that. Okay, is this the video we were playing before? I should have just clicked it was faster. All right, we got a problem here. Let me do a refresh. Are we doing a refresh? Let's see if the family here. We got Liz Unknown in the house. We got the driver. We got Naya. We got NNC. What's up, everybody? Yeah, I don't know what happened. Like I said, we got a lot of programs moving on this PC, and sometimes they fight with each other. And like I said, we're using a cell phone as a webcam. It look good, don't it? I hate to say it. It look good. Now, I brought it down from 4K to regular 1080. So hopefully, that alleviate some of the stress. But like I said, it's rush hour. So the show's going to get better. All right, they got us on band 2 now. Yay. I haven't tested out band 2. Let's test it out real quick. Let's test out band 2 real quick. Now we doing 5 megabits down, and we need at least 2. I don't know why we not getting no data today. Band 12 is terrible. I hope they upload better, because we need at least 7. We need at least 7. Oh, heck yeah. Oh, it's coming back though. Wait a minute, it's coming back. It's coming back. It's coming back. It's trying to get back up to 7. 539. Let's do it again. We doing 5. So that's not good. So we only got 0.39 megabit. Yeah, that download is terrible. That's ridiculous. That download is terrible. What about the upload? You saw the upload try to go to 29, it got drugged back. All right, we're gonna leave that alone. It tried to go to 29 and got drugged back. So we ain't gonna give you no excuses, phone. Do your job. We ain't gonna get a phone, no excuses today. Let's get it. Let's get it, y'all. Let's get back to the stockbroker. NSC said she listening but cooking. I saw that before it clipped over.
That's your old action cam.
Right to a commercial. Ain't that something? Come on, man. Thought you was making money. Need commercials for. Let me stop.
This is your stimulus check update, your second stimulus check update, and stimulus package update as of Wednesday, May 20th. Yes, we will cover the second stimulus check and also my investments. However, let's begin with economic and financial news. In financial and economic news, during these difficult economic times, here's a tip for people that are looking for a job or will be looking for a job. If you want to get paid up to $25 an hour and help fight against COVID-19, take a look into being a contact tracer. States are now going on a hiring spree for contact tracers. Contact tracers help locate individuals that were in contact with people infected with COVID-19 in order to help stop the spread. You can do this work from home. It can be part-time or full-time, and the compensation ranges from $17 an hour to $25 an hour. It's the state and local governments that are doing the recruiting. Please just Google it. Again, what's awesome is that you're helping America. You're helping save lives. To all the existing contact tracers out there, thank you for your service and thank you for keeping us safe. In other financial and economic news, the stock market is doing well because the states are reopening and on vaccine hopes. In terms of investing in the stock market, I would recommend taking a wait-and-see approach and invest defensively. My favorite stocks right now are Microsoft and Google. You need companies like these with strong balance sheets that will be minimally affected with employees working remotely and that are also experiencing minimal customer impact. I personally would avoid retail stocks that have a substantial presence in oil-dependent regions, especially in the South, especially if they have weak balance sheets with high debt-to-equity ratios. Because those communities and regions that are dependent upon oil are hit with a double whammy. Because
come on, man, get with the information.
They just collapsed. Going into the HEROES Act and the upcoming stimulus package, let's start with saying that the Republicans are pushing to have the majority of the next stimulus package tied to people working. This is because the Republicans, they're expecting a fast economic recovery. Therefore, the Republicans want to incentivize people to work. This not only includes payroll tax cuts, again, to save on Social Security and Medicare taxes on each and every paycheck, which is great, but also things like employee tax credits and also liability protection. Hopefully we get the HEROES Fund thrown in there too in order to give a pay boost to essential workers because I support essential workers. Anyways, let's go further into liability protection and understanding why this is important. If there's liability protection for the employers, then that incentivizes small businesses and employers to have less fear in calling back employees to work or to hire employees. If you're a small business and you're afraid of liability, like getting sued for COVID-19 work-related issues, then you would be more hesitant to call back employees, to hire employees in that type of situation or that type of environment. I hope that makes sense, which is why the Republicans are saying that the liability protection is so important to small businesses, to employers, and to the overall economy. I hope that makes sense and it all ties in together. Before we progress further into the stimulus updates, I feel that I need to defend myself because there are a lot of people attacking me. I told people about Travala, ticker AVA, ticker symbol AVA, 3 weeks ago. And since then, I've been mentioning it in almost every video. Since then, the price has increased approximately 210% since shooting this video. People are saying that I caused the price increase. However, news was just released this morning that behind the scenes, Travala was undergoing a merger and acquisition, which is one of the many reasons that caused the price to increase. I'm not being compensated or sponsored to say this. Again, I'm just defending myself. Travala is a hotel booking website company similar to Orbitz, Expedia, Booking.com. But Travala and their prices for hotel bookings, it's usually about 5% cheaper. I booked with Travala personally at least 10 times. And for me, it has always been a smooth process. I book with Orbitz
on, man,
as well.
you killing me.
Not being sponsored by Orbitz either. I booked with Travala and all those other companies on their websites. And for Travala, Travala will now offer hotels.
We don't care, man.
Increase? No. I did my homework, and Travala increased.
He's still talking about it.
10%. People make a lot of money. That's usually what happens when you get a smart Asian guy.
Oh, Lord. Come on, man.
It goes straight up forever. You know, if it's going to continue to go up, it's going to be.
He's still talking about it.
So please take some profits off the table if you've already made a boatload of money, especially when it runs up so high and so quickly like it did. I have not sold any. I will continue to hold for the long run. Please subscribe to this channel. I help you save.
Please, man.
Regarding the SBA PPP loan, if you are looking into loan forgiveness, you need to fill out the loan forgiveness application. I look forward to advising on that. However, in the meantime, if you just cannot wait, I would recommend you check out Hannah's YouTube channel at Clara CFO Group, which I will link.
Nah, you pushing somebody else's channel.
About 6,000 subscribers, but she's impressed with the high quality of her representatives. Is planning to vote next week to fix the small business loan program. It's most likely going to extend. It's most likely going to extend the time to use the PPP loan money in order to qualify for loan forgiveness, but we'll see how things develop. The takeaway is that it's not set in stone, but that's what's expected in the talks next week.
All right, man, I had enough of you. You put me to sleep. I'm sorry. God damn, this man ain't nothing but a walking commercial. I told y'all, he ain't nothing but a walking commercial. Lord. The first part of the bill passed in the House of Representatives. Now it's got passed the Senate. So you know the Senate gonna duke it out. And then it goes to Trump. Didn't I tell y'all? That's why, when they first started talking about it last month, I used to watch this man, and all he would do is push other things. Uh-oh, something wrong. Something is wrong. But it's not wrong here. It's something wrong, but it's not wrong from my end. We only using 18% of the PC. It ain't from my end. What's going on? Let me do a refresh. What's going on here? Would you say more cameras to purchase? I'm using a cell phone. I'm using an old S5. I went on Google and I typed, can you use your cell phone? Because cell phone's got a better camera than most webcams anyway. Like I said, this cell phone we're using right now is 6 years old, but it's a Samsung. The Samsung S5. So that was a flagship, 6 years ago. So it's going to have a better camera than most. I mean, I gotta figure out how to bring it down some. I wish I could bring it down some, but it looks good. Looks really good. Like I said, I wish it would stop fighting for the USB port. And it's messing up our tethering. I might have to see if the Wi-Fi hotspot can support this. If I could use the unlimited hotspot on the Verizon, then they won't have to fight. And maybe we won't have that problem. But I don't know if hotspot can push everything we pushing. And I'm being honest. I don't know if the hotspot can push everything. But it's definitely using a lot of the PC. Now they also have they have one that lets you do it with Wi-Fi. Maybe I ought to try that and use the hotspot on that to run it. But the problem is that we tethering. That's the problem. I had to see. How can I get both of them to run on the same thing? That'd be the problem. They only let you do one. All right, so that means the PC is pushing that too. What? We got tricked. We got tricked twice.
It's Wednesday evening. I'm Mike Bettis.
I'm Alex Wilson. Mike, a lot going on. Two very big, dangerous stories, and both of them have to do with water.
Indeed, they do. We're going to start with that catastrophic flooding happening right now in Michigan. 11,000 people in Midland County being forced to evacuate. One dam has failed. A second dam breached. Two others now at high flow levels. Some areas expected to be under as much as 9 feet of water. Shelters are open. The National Guard has been activated. A state of emergency has been declared. We have a live report for you from Midland, and we're going to give you an update on that situation there in just a few minutes. Let's now get to Dr. Nab. The same flow of moisture created problems we know from Michigan down into Ohio. One person killed in Columbus, Ohio after driving their car into high water. And then our attention turns even farther south, Dr. Nab, through the Carolinas, where this could really become a very dangerous situation here over the next 24 hours.
Absolutely, Mike. And it's so sad to hear how floodwaters and cars with people in them have led to deadly consequences once again. That's why we focus so much on the flood risk and what it means for roadways and where you need to stay off the roads. So let's take a look at the overall risk. And these are rare days when the Weather Prediction Center goes for high risk. Very likely flash flooding here, western North Carolina and western Virginia, but a large area at risk for flooding due to the persistent rains of this cutoff low that is sitting and spinning over the Appalachians, and it continues to bring in moisture all the way around from the Gulf and the Atlantic Ocean. And we have a primary band here that is going right over the Charlotte, North Carolina area earlier, now more into western North Carolina, western Virginia, but Charleston, South Carolina earlier had heavy rain. We've even got heavy rain on the tail end of this whole thing down in Louisiana. So here's where all the flood warnings and advisories are right now. So let's highlight a few of those. Charlotte, North Carolina, no longer do you have your flood advisory in effect. Look at the heavy rain that Charleston got. Now it's farther north. Charlotte, things have improved. You had the flood advisory earlier. Well, it's still in effect for a few more minutes, so just a little bit longer. Good time to be staying off the roads until this clears up, but you got more rain coming late tonight. Flood warning still going on in Greenville, South Carolina until 11:30 tonight. Again, flooding can still happen even when there's not heavy rain going on. In Taylor's, we have an impassable road due to flooding, Aiken Chapel Road near the Emery River, so those low spots can be problematic. Henderson, North Carolina, advisory till 6:30 local time. And then along I-40 east of Asheville, that's where we've got a flood warning till 6:45 local time. This Old Fort area, low spots. Look how complex that terrain is. Emergency management still finding water-covered roads in the low spots. Now, farther north, flood warning here in northwestern North Carolina, just northeast of Boone in the Mulberry and Sparta areas. That goes until after midnight. Now, in Virginia here, Roanoke, Blacksburg, flood warning until 3:15 tomorrow morning. And look at some of the reports we've been getting from in and around Roanoke. The Roanoke River flowing over the bridge on Wiley Drive, road closed and impassable. Fast moving water on the roadway. That can carry away cars. In the Vinton area, just northeast of Roanoke, the Tinker Creek coming out of its banks, covering bridges, covering roads. And Parkersburg, West Virginia, flood warning until 5:45. And look at all of these roads being reported flooded due to water coming out of its banks. Well, we expected this, Alex, and unfortunately, it's going to continue all night into tomorrow morning.
Yeah, you know, we've seen the rain continue off and on throughout the day in a place like Raleigh, North Carolina. Look at that camera shot. Miserable. We've got rain, we've got fog, we've got even a little bit of mist being reported. Winds gusting 24 miles per hour. Raleigh in there. On top of all that, temperatures are in the upper 50s. So it's a cool day. Now, I want to take you back into western North Carolina. Chris Bruin is in Marion, McDowell County, one of the areas under a flash flood warning right now. Chris, Dr. Dab just showing us.
Look at the water behind them, y'all. And blow it up.
West dealing with some problems.
Look at that.
Yeah, there's been a numerous amount of minor roads that have been either barricaded or flooded out, and of course that's expected with the type of precipitation that we've been seeing. We're here in Marion, not far from Old Fort, right along the Catawba River. The Catawba River is pretty much a drainage basin for the state of North Carolina. So all the water that flows in the mountains drains somehow into the Catawba River basin and several other basins. But the Catawba River is a pretty major thoroughfare here, especially in the Piedmont of North Carolina. And look at how high the water is. I'm going to step here to the side. You've got sticks like this that kind of get washed up along the riverbank, and then they get taken out. And we've not only seen sticks, but trees, literally the whole tree just kind of flowing down the river. And look at the force of the water. If I were to step in there, I would essentially get wiped out because of the fast-moving flow of the water. And notice too the murkiness of it. It's hard to tell what is in it. And this is just one of the forks that flows into the main river, which is actually over here. It gives you a better idea of what you're looking at. And it's high. Typically, the trees are on grass. And look at all the trees over here, Brad. And the staircase, this is some sort of riverside park.
Oh, look, it's going to somebody's house. Oh, no. Well, it ain't nobody. That's what kind of building.
Given the conditions. But
is that a house?
It really goes to show you how high the water has come. And really, in the last hour, the water is even visibly rising. We're actually able to see the water come up. It was a step lower, but now that step got covered with water. So you're about 6 steps up now on the canoe launch of completely inundated flooding. So the Catawba River is under a flood warning until further notice, and there's several more inches of rain that is expected, especially as we get to the overnight hours. It's really going to be the worst of all of this. And keep in mind, everything is saturated, Mike, so this is going to be a big problem. Once we get through tomorrow, say at this time, I think a lot of the moisture is going to be pushing off towards the east. But if we were to end up with a quick 2 inches in a short period of time,
yeah, that is.
The rainfall rates right now, if we stay light like we are at the moment, I think we'll fare okay. But if we get a very heavy band to kind of park itself, that's when we're going to run into major issues.
It's very possible that could happen. You know, we get a high risk here across the mountains. Chris, thanks so much for the illustration of what's going on there. We show you the radar, and it's definitely coming down for us right now. Where Chris is down here, but there are a lot of creeks and streams and rivers that flow all through these mountains here. I want to take you, through kind of the high-risk area here and show you the terrain and how it can play a very big role here. Okay, so we're going to go from Marion up Highway 221 into Boone, okay? And
I knew you was going to go there.
Look at the mountains. Look
I knew you was going there.
The roads flow through the canyons, if you will, here, but so too does water. So you've got a bit of a double whammy here where you're going to get the runoff from the hillsides, but you're also going to have some of these river valleys fill up as well. We'll take it down, and you can just see how steep some of this can be here. And again, everything can come flowing downhill. So we're worried about a flash flooding, we're worried about debris flows, we're worried about mud flows. These are things that are somewhat common, especially during heavy rain events across western North Carolina. I want to take you toward Pineola here, and you can see, here's the lake right here. They got a dam that sits right in here, and the water can flow down through there. So what you don't want to have is the water breach that dam or go over top of it, because then you're just going to come downstream, and there are numerous places that are going to be at risk here. So all these places are being monitored because of what's happened
That's a lot of houses around the dam.
What's going to happen days from now? Then you get towards, say, Blowing Rock. Again, you're sitting in one of these little tourist towns. Beautiful. It's fantastic in the summertime where the temperature generally only about 80 degrees or so. But look at all the places that get affected here. So you're talking Blowing Rock up 221, then into Boone. The elevation is pretty high, and some of these places have ski resorts too. Talking about snow in the wintertime, that's what we're talking about here. So you've got elevation, and you can just see all the brown on the map here where you're talking about the topography that plays a huge role in all of this, Alex. Not only does the orographic lift enhance the amount of rain that we get, so you might get more rain in the mountains than you would in a place like a Hickory or a Charlotte, but now just the downslope of all that causes tremendous flow into some of these towns.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a 1-2 punch for some of those communities there in western North Carolina. More rain on the way as we head towards the end of the week. So we're going to keep the flood threat going, all thanks to that cutoff low that's just not in the path of any of the steering winds. And so it's just going to stay stuck right in the path where it is, not moving anywhere. That continues to flow that moisture in from the Gulf of Mexico, in from the Atlantic, all across the southeast. So we're going to keep things moist. Even where it hasn't been raining, I think you've noticed the increase in the moisture. You said it's a little bit more humid, even though it's cooler with the clouds. It's kind of that damp cool. And tomorrow into early Friday, gotta watch really the areas along and west of the Interstate 81 corridor there, through parts of southern Virginia. Also through sections of western North Carolina and a good chunk of Virginia overall. We'll be looking at least the possibility of flash
Friday, Baltimore. Y'all see it?
Virginia, North Carolina, and even into the mid-Atlantic as well. So places like D.C., even that Philadelphia, we'll see some rain to end the week. And unfortunately, we head into the start of the weekend. We get a break for parts of Virginia, Roanoke, down into western North Carolina, and parts of South Carolina. But the northeast cities will be getting in on the rain.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you one thing. The audio bad again? 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 I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Let me go back to the OBS. Hello, hello, hello. Hello. That's working. Going to properties. Yeah, that's correct. So what seems to be the problem? Filters. Shouldn't have no problem there. Sound settings. All right, let's troubleshoot. All right, I'm detecting trying to let the computer fix itself. What's that? $19,944 cases, 17,119 dead, 585 hospitalized, no Carolinas, 12 cases in West Africa. Oh Lord, that's from the flood of the CV. Hello, 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 hello. All right. Hello, can y'all hear me now? All right, is the audio fixed? All right. Is the audio fixed now? Okay. Told you, you're gonna be a YouTuber, you're gonna learn on the fly. You're gonna be a YouTuber, you're gonna learn on the fly. Like I said, we got a lot of programs open and they fighting each other. But the biggest thing causing the problem is the webcam. I'm gonna have to figure out how to use it with Wi-Fi. Cause both of them can't be here. Somebody got to go. We USB tethering and it's running the show. And we got the phone tethering. Now, we had the problem with the cameras because they wanted to take over. The cameras wanted to take over the USB. And we USB tethering. So I'm either going to have to try and run the show on the hotspot for Verizon. If I can run the show, if it can run the show, we'll do that and we'll leave the USB to the phone. Or I'm going to have to use the hotspot, download another program that uses Wi-Fi. But the problem is, if I'm tethering, the Wi-Fi is not going to pay no mind to the, it's not going to pay no mind to the mobile Wi-Fi because it's getting a direct connection. So how can you get them both on the same line when one of the permissions is that you only have one thing connected? That's one of the Now, I haven't tried to make the tethering app. I haven't tried that yet. I haven't tried the I can get it to go from one device to another Android device. So I don't know. So let's see. But now I know just to turn off the voice meter microphone program, because we got that too running, and we got something called virtual cable, where it's like an invisible cable, and I got those two programs running. Now, if we lose the good microphone sound and go back to ordinary, but I don't want to go back. You know what I mean? We made such strides going forward, but I am noticing that the PC is a little jumpy. So let's get to the next video here.
It's just surreal. Yeah, it's devastation up north a little. It's bad.
It's not a lot of time to get to a lot of those stories. This is one that deserves it, though. Severe flooding in Michigan hitting record levels. 2 dams failed, forcing about 10,000 to evacuate. Water covering the streets and flooding homes and stranding cars in Michigan. The governor, Gretchen Whitmer, declared a state of emergency for Midland County, about 75 miles north of Lansing. National Weather Service says the flooding is a, quote, life-threatening situation. Mike Tobin tracks that from our Midwest Bureau. Mike, what happened here?
Well, Bill, with sunshine in the forecast, I certainly wish I could tell the people of Midland, Michigan that it's going to get better. The bad news is that the river is still on the way up. The Tittawabassee River is expected to crest sometime before 11 p.m. at 38 feet, which is 14 feet above flood stage. And what happened, answer to that question, is a lot of rain. The Edensville Dam got loaded up, and the National Weather Service says it suffered a catastrophic failure. That sent water downstream to the Sanford Dam, which was overtopped. Officials can't really tell what kind of shape that dam is in at the moment. But the water from the Sanford Dam then went into the Tittawabassee River, which flows through Midland, Michigan. Now, in the middle of a pandemic, 10,000 residents need to evacuate.
Hard to believe that we're in the midst of a 100-year crisis, a global pandemic, and that we're also dealing with a flooding event that looks to be the worst in 500 years. But you know what? Here's what I know. When the chips are down, the people of Michigan are able to rise up.
Midland saw record flooding back in 1986. That was called a 100-year flood. This flood is expected to reach 4.5 feet above that. That's why you hear the governor calling this a 500-year flood.
I'm safe. You know, things can be replaced. You know, thank God. You know, we're okay.
38 feet of water moving is dangerous, and so when people's houses and lives are at stake, it's just crazy to think about. Nothing that you can imagine without seeing it in person.
The president weighed in over Twitter, writing, "My team is closely monitoring the flooding in central Michigan. Stay safe. Listen to your local officials. Our brave first responders are once again stepping up to serve their fellow citizens. Thousands have left their homes. Most are falling back on friends and relatives. Some 300 stayed in the shelters, and they were all screened for coronavirus symptoms." Bill?
Mike Tobin, what a time, huh? Mike Tobin, thanks, in Chicago.
Send us your old action cam.
That daggone shame. I didn't know I typed that. I'm sorry, Liz. I didn't know I typed that. Oh, man. Why make a video I had some videos ready and I took them out because I forgot that they was Wednesday. What's this?
It's February 23rd. 2 911 calls come from the Satilla Shores neighborhood of Brunswick, Georgia. Glenn County Police find 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery dying in the street from 3 gunshot wounds. Father and son Gregory and Travis McMichael are questioned and released. The next day, Waycross District Attorney George Barnhill tells police no grounds exist for arresting the McMichaels or the person who filmed the shooting. But Barnhill is not in charge of the case. February 27, Brunswick District Attorney Jackie Johnson asked for another prosecutor to take over. The reason? Gregory McMichael worked as an investigator in her office for years. The same day, Barnhill is formally appointed to the case. April 1st, the autopsy report is released. In a letter to Glenn County Police, Barnhill says the autopsy affirms his opinion that there is insufficient probable cause for arrest. Barnhill also says he will step away from the case at the request of Arbery's family. April 7th, the Georgia Attorney General's office receives Barnhill's request to appoint another prosecutor. Barnhill says his son worked with Greg McMichael on a case involving Arbery. April 13. The AG's office appoints Tom Durden. He is the 3rd prosecutor to take over the case. Public pressure mounts in Glenn County to bring charges against the men involved.
There are a lot of people who are discouraged and believe that this is going to be one of those cases that has happened in other parts of the nation where life was lost and justice was not rendered.
Glenn County Police request the Georgia Bureau of Investigation's help with threats against officers involved in the Arbery case. May 5th. Video of the deadly encounter goes viral. The case explodes across the country. Durden says he will present the case to a grand jury. But COVID-19 shutdowns mean the case won't be heard any earlier than June. The next day, the GBI steps in. The investigation picks up speed. May 7th, Travis and Gregory McMichael are arrested. May 11th, Cobb County District Attorney Joyette Holmes takes over the case, the 4th prosecutor to become involved. The same day, the Attorney General asks for an investigation of possible misconduct by the first 2 prosecutors for failing to reveal Barnhill's involvement in the case before he took over.
Unbelievable. I mean, usually when we're looking at these cases and you're looking for something that's gone wrong, you look at the investigator. No, they're looking at the lawyers. They're looking at the district attorneys in this one. Let's bring everyone back in here. And that's the first thing that jumps out to me in this one, Ashley, is that, hey, you know, normally when we're talking about problems, it's, you know, the problems with the investigation, you know, the cops are doing a favor for another cop. Here, it's going up another level. It looks like the district attorneys were the ones who need to be looked at a little more closely.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if you start hearing the terms prosecutorial misconduct being thrown around. Although, Vinny, you know well what that entails. It's a pretty high bar to be able to achieve that kind of a conviction. It usually requires some kind of malice and some kind of nefarious action, as opposed to just sloppiness or stupidity or neglect, that sort of thing. But I think without question, this is going to be a very significant part of this case. What did the prosecutors do? What did they know? When did they know it? How did they react? And did they react in a criminal way?
And Ted, the other part of this is all happening at once, right? So you've got the investigation into the actual shooting kind of taking place at the same time that they're investigating the investigation into the shooting.
Yeah, well, outside agencies, which was the key here. I think that there's a real argument, though, that, you know, making that leap to this is a horrible, nefarious inside job, that is a high bar, to Ashley's point. Prosecutorial misconduct is way up there, and I think you can make a poor argument, but an argument that they looked at the evidence, they looked at the video, and they saw something that the rest of us didn't see, and they decided that they couldn't win this case in this county. I know it sounds horrible, it sounds ridiculous, but I do think they have the odds of a prosecutor going down very slim. I wouldn't hold your breath.
Yeah, Chanley, I look at it and I say, you know, when you have a conflict of interest, you step away from the case as soon as possible. But with the conflict of interest, it seems that each of the first two prosecutors were taking some level of action in the way the case was handled, something that they needed to recuse themselves from.
Right, but they both adamantly deny it now. There were even calls for their resignation to step down from office, but Jackie Johnson's been very clear from the beginning that on the day of the shooting, that the investigators, the detectives called two of her assistant DAs. They both immediately allegedly told them they were going to step down and recuse. She referred it to Barnhill, who the next day gave his opinion about the case, but that's where the Attorney General, Chris Carr, has the problem, because he was not aware when he handed the case over to Barnhill that Barnhill had already told the police that there was no grounds for arrest, or he wouldn't have handed it over to Barnhill. So that's where we get all of this, and potentially there's an investigation at the federal level against these prosecutors as well. Who knows what may happen?
Yeah, it gets ugly very quickly. All right, Chandler, let's talk about this text message that came out today from December 20th. This is shaking a lot of people up. What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, this is a text message that an officer who responded to Larry English. Now, he's the owner of the property under construction.
Officer Rash.
Ahmaud Arbery was alleged to be seen minutes before this chase happened, February 23rd, and there are a series of surveillance videos over the months since last October who may be Ahmaud Arbery stopping at this home under construction. Well, on December 20th, Larry English called because he gets these alerts on his cell phone when his motion-censored cameras on his property go off. He doesn't live there, he lives somewhere else, so he gets alerts. Well, these text messages were sent from the officer at the police department that he called and talked to, an Officer Rash. And the surveillance video that actually alerted him on this day was one where a couple, a Caucasian male and female, are seen entering the home under construction while Larry English calls police. Anyways, the officer eventually texts Larry English this text message. There's the video now, the couple that enters the home that Larry English called police about. This is apparently an ongoing problem at this property, Vinny. So he receives a text message on December 20th, 9:40 a.m. It says, your neighbor at 229 Satilla Drive is Greg McMichael. Greg is retired law enforcement and also a retired investigator from the DA's office. He said, please call him day or night when you get action on your camera, and he goes on to actually give him Greg McMichael's phone number. These are newly released from the attorney of Larry English.
Officer Rash.
You know, there's a lot of ways to read this, but let's go around and get some reaction from you. My reaction is that somehow, some way, it's like Greg Michael is now out of retirement, and his big case is solving the big trespassing that's taking place at the construction site caper. Ashley, I don't understand this. Why are police passing the buck?
I think you could look at it as passing the buck. I think you could look at it as, hey, Mr. English, there's a guy who lives 2 doors down who's got a lot of experience in investigating. He was one of us, and he said he'd be happy to help you out as a neighbor. I mean, I have a police officer, a former police officer who lives down the street from me, and I've asked him a few favors before, and when he was retired. So I'm not so sure that's so indicting. I got to be honest. I just think neighbors look out for neighbors, and since there's been so much activity at Mr. English's property under construction, by the way, the neighborhood had been sharing a lot of these videos through the Nextdoor app. If you know what the Nextdoor app is, it's a neighborhood group sort of chat. All over the country, neighborhoods get together. You have to be invited and allowed in, and you can sort of look out for each other. And I get alerts all the time saying cars being broken into 4 doors down or 3 neighborhoods over, you know, keep on the alert. And people share their videos and say, has anybody seen this guy? He broke into my car last night. So I don't see that as so weird. I see that as a police officer saying, the neighbor 2 doors down from you is a former cop. He said he'd be happy to give you a hand, and he asked me to pass on his info to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but it does, but it doesn't. I think it's one thing, Ted, if my neighbor, say it's my friend Mike Brooks. Let's say, for instance, my friend Mike Brooks lived in my neighborhood. You know, I might go to him, but for police to tell me to go to my neighbor, that's where I have the problem. That police, you know, to serve and protect, are telling me to go talk to my neighbor.
Vinny, wait. They're not telling them. They're saying your neighbor has offered to be of assistance to you. If you read the text carefully, they're not saying only call him next time. They're saying your neighbor, Mr. McMichael, has offered to help out here, and I'm passing on his number for you. So I think that's a very different thing than wrecking him.
That's the problem, though, actually, is that the police reached out to McMichael and said, hey, we got a problem right down the street from you. Hey, are you willing and able to, you know, strap on the old gun and go at it and help us out? That's where the problem here is. I do agree with Ashley that these are all good intentions. All of this is about, you know, helping this homeowner out with what he perceives as now a problem of people coming into his construction site. I don't think there's any malice here. I just think that this was the beginning of the McMichaels deputizing themselves and taking on that George Zimmerman were now the police in our neighborhood, and we can't wait till somebody else goes into that site because we won't be ready.
Can I add to that? It just occurred to me when Chanley did her very thoughtful package with all of that information in it, the name Officer Rash rung a bell for me. And I was thinking, why do I know that name? Why do I know that name? It's because I read the police report from February 11th.
Yep, that's all the right.
That's a couple months later, right? And the responding officer, when this happened, when there was someone on the security camera with a flashlight, and the younger McMichael, Travis, went and called 911, the responding officer is Officer Rash. So I think they're all very familiar with what's going on in this small community. And of course, they all know each other because the McMichaels worked, Mr. McMichael worked probably with Officer Rash at some point. So, I mean, it can sound all really nefarious. It definitely can. And it can all be very innocent, as Ted said. I think it's really, for the 4 of us, really interesting what we say. A jury is going to see it their way.
It's innocent, but it's innocent up to the point that you're grabbing shotguns and .357 Magnums. That's the problem. Is they're almost being anointed by police that it's okay. Call your neighbor. The police are telling him to call his neighbor. Then his neighbor decides he's going to grab a shotgun with his son, who I don't think is trained in anything, and he's got the .357 Magnum and he's jumping on the back of a pickup. It's when you put all the pieces together that it does not make any sense. Now let's talk about the alleged chase here. Chanley Painter, what can you tell us tonight about the alleged chase? Because there's a lot of noise on, and I don't want to say noise in a bad way, but people talking about, a lot of chatter, I guess is a better word. A lot of chatter on social media about some posts that have been put out there talking about the chase that took place before we see that video pick up the end of what was happening. What do we know tonight?
And that's exactly it. The video that went viral is the end of what happened. Even the defense attorneys last week saying there's more than one video of this incident because it was several minutes long of a chase for Ahmaud Arbery. I know we put together sort of a little map to show our viewers the path overall based on 911 calls and the police report, what the movements were of Ahmaud Arbery. And I believe in this graph, there's the red line will show us Ahmaud Arbery's path along Satilla Drive that day from the home under construction. And then as he moves east on Satilla Drive, you can see that he passes the McMichaels home, which is 4 or 5 houses down. And then that's when the McMichaels spot him in the front yard. So the blue line will be the McMichaels, Travis and Gregory McMichael. They go down Buford Road. They're turning around. Now, during Buford Road, they pass Roddy Bryan. That's where he lives. And they end up back on Holmes Road here. We don't know exactly what happens on this Holmes Road, but we know that Gregory McMichael made a 911 call at 1:14 p.m. as this was happening at the intersection of Holmes and Satilla Drive there in this neighborhood. And that's where they end up, right there at the intersection. And that's where the viral video ends, where the blue dot is.
So I'm wondering, and to me, this part of the case is a huge part of the case, Ashley. And at the end of last week, we had defense attorneys for Greg McMichael saying, we've got another video, there are timestamps that don't match up, and there's a whole nother vantage point to this. And my guess is they may be talking about if there's more footage of this chase, or maybe a second camera here.
Yeah, I'd be really interested, as I always am in the early offings of a case, to get all the facts. It's really irresponsible, and God bless social media for connecting us all, especially during the pandemic, but it is really dangerous for people to sort of anoint themselves CSI experts when they really don't have everything yet. I think we've learned a lot in these cases, especially when it's so incredibly socially polarizing. We've learned to hold our breath and wait for other videos and wait for other evidence, because the narrative can change a lot. Vinny, you and I talked about narrative being very solid at the beginning of this case because that video is so clarifying, and yet it isn't. There's still more material, there's still more information. And I think if there's one thing I've learned in 33 years of doing this, wait for it. Just be patient. There's always more information that comes out, and it may very well bode terribly for the McMichaels, and it may not bode terribly for the McMichaels.
You said I'm hosting a mukbang. No, I just got hungry. Let me we got a first video. Money about cash, and where did I send that? We was already showing one video. That's why I had to wait. Alrighty, y'all. Back to the flooding. Am I frozen again? Hope it's a video. Watauga County, North Carolina. Rain continued in the mountains, winds is causing some rivers and creeks to rise. Some low-lying bridges like the one on Casey Lane in Boone were covered by river waters and the roads were closed. Since rain has been coming down for several days, the ground is wet, so falling trees and mudslides are a possibility. So it is a video. All right, cool.
came down hard Wednesday throughout Watauga County. And while some rivers like the Watauga River were flowing high but still in its bank, others were up over bridges. This bridge on Casey Lane in Boone was underwater.
Any low-lying bridges that lays along the Watauga River, New River, people need to be aware that it can flood and it can come up quickly.
Watauga County Maintenance Engineer Kevin Whittington says the constant rainfall has made rivers and creeks rise and recede all day. But when they start to rise, it's fast. So it's important to remember.
Don't try to go through it with your vehicle because that could be dangerous to you and the people that's trying to rescue you.
And this isn't the only thing the Department of Transportation is keeping a close eye on. The constant rainfall has made mudslides possible.
Mudslides could bring timber, trees, rocks, debris into the roadway, and so everybody just needs to be cautious when driving.
But as the water in the river rises...
Usually the Watauga runs clear and cold, but today it's kind of a muddy brown.
Watauga Riverkeeper Andy Hill was in Valley Cruces getting bacteria samples, which he says he likes to do during flooding.
Heavy rain event days, because we get a lot of pollution from stormwater runoff. So that means things that are in the surface of the parking lot or leaching out of the failing sewer system, they'll end up in the water. And that gives us some excellent data to protect public health.
He understands that many people are home and they may want to go in the water. But Wednesday afternoon, it was already up by 6 feet.
It's flowing and it's flowing hard enough that it'd be difficult for someone to stand up safely or wade safely in the river.
And he wants to remind everyone not to play in the rivers and creeks when the water is this high, because that water is powerful.
Water is a lot more powerful and swift moving than it appears.
Which is why creeks like Dutch Creek are already out of their banks and making their way into Valley Cruces Park in Watauga County.
We just want people to be careful.
Rose Eckler, Spectrum News.
Damn. COV in North Carolina. Hey. 17,494 cases. 9,115 estimated recovered. 667 dead. 492 hospitalized. The number of confirmed COVID cases in North Carolina rose. We already read that. The newspaper report that 667 people in the state have died with the virus. 492 people are hospitalized with the virus as of 11 a.m. May 15. The estimate of people who have recovered from the virus is 9,115. The estimate is being provided once per week on Mondays. They estimate a median time to recover of 14 days from the date of specimen collection for non-fatal COVID-19 patients who are not hospitalized or hospitalization status is unknown. The estimated median recovery time is 28 days from the date of specimen collection for hospitalized non-fatal non-COVID-19 cases. I telling the same thing over and over again. Back out of that. I just saw a story and thought I would just duck into it. Now, are we coming back? Yeah, okay. All right. Now you're right. This is an awful time to have a flood. You got people worrying about drowning and worrying about catching COV at the same time. Gotta outrun the water and the virus. The water on one side of you, the virus on the other side of you. Like, God darn. Can I get a break? We got 1,591. I mean, 1,500,091, 259 cases. Deaths, 94,919. Recovered, 370,057. That's the people that have been recovered or discharged, 80%. We down to 20%, but we up to 94,919 deaths. But less people are dying. The numbers reset yet? Nope, we early enough. New York, 363,517. They picked up 887 new cases today, 28,816 deaths, new deaths, 168. Let's check the country. 363,517. There any country anywhere near? Is there any country anywhere near? Russia has 308,000. Brazil has 291,000. Spain has 279,000 cases. The UK has 248,000. New York beat everybody. New York got 353 cases. 353,000. They beat everybody. Oops. What about in deaths? That's 18,000. 27,000. I think New York City had. Did New York City have 20-something thousand deaths? That's not good. My audio bad again? Hold on. Let me see. Hello, hello, hello. All right, don't sound bad. Is the audio bad, y'all? I just checked it on the phone. It sounds good to me. So 291,000 is the highest. And New York got 363,000. New York has 363,517. New Jersey has 152,096. They picked up 1,082 new cases. Total deaths, 10,747. 156 people died in New Jersey today. Illinois has 100,418 cases. New cases, 2,388. Total deaths, 4,525. 146 people died in Illinois today. Massachusetts 88,970. They picked up 1,045 cases today. Total deaths 6,066. 128 people died in Massachusetts today. California, 85,770. New cases, 1,966. 3,512 total deaths. 87 people died today. Pennsylvania, 67,735 total cases. They picked up 308 new cases. 4,753 total deaths. 2 people died in Pennsylvania today. Michigan, 53,009. They picked up 659 cases. Total deaths, 5,060. 43 people died in Michigan today. Texas, 51,564. 892 new cases. Total deaths, 1,419. 17 people died in Texas today. Florida, 47,471 total cases. 527 new cases today. 2,096 total deaths. 44 people died today in Florida. Maryland, oh Maryland, my little town of Maryland. When we first started, we had 20 cases. Now we're at 42,000. That must be a mistake. What a heartbreak. We got 42,323. We picked up 777 new cases today. Total deaths, 2,123. 42 people died in my state of Maryland today. Georgia, 39,801 cases. They picked up 946 cases today. Total deaths, 1,697. New deaths, 22. North Carolina, 20,261. They picked up 417 cases. Dang, even in the flood? Total deaths, 726. 7 people died in North Carolina today. The drivers, South Carolina, 9,175. 119 new cases, 407 total deaths, 8 people died today. Delaware, we first started with Delaware, they ain't had nothing. For like the first 2 weeks, they had nothing. They had 8,194. They picked up 157 new cases today. 310 people have died. 6 people died in Delaware today. Maryland, oh Maryland. Talking about my state of Maryland. $1,591,259 total cases for the United States. 20,676 new cases today. Total deaths, 94,919. New deaths, 1,386. Do you think we're going to have 100,000 deaths by tomorrow? Or by the weekend? Anybody? So, do y'all think that we peaked yet? Hello? Is anybody still here? Do y'all think that we peaked yet? Have we peaked yet? Have we peaked yet? Have we peaked yet? Have we peaked yet? I said, have we peaked yet? We reached our peak yet? Really? That was 713. Naya says no. You sure are spinning. I'm trying to think, is it the PC or is it the phone? Let me check the chat real quick. Live updates. Minnesota churches will resume in-person services despite governor's coronavirus order. What? Trump said what? Somebody tell Trump to go up that crack.
We ever got...
Hello. 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 Yeah, okay. Yeah, and you know what? You getting blocked. Whoever that was, you getting blocked. Whoever that was. How you get to the phone? Assess scam likely. Whoever this was, they getting blocked. Block number. Bye-bye. All right. Oops.
Question on Brazil, who's yes, in third place now, catching up to Russia in second place with a number of cases. Are you finally considering a travel ban from Brazil and Latin America?
We are considering it. We hope that we're not going to have a problem. The governor of Florida is doing very, very well. Testing is in particular Florida, because a big majority come into Florida. Brazil has gone more or less herd. You know what that is, herd. And they're having problems. By the way, you know, when you say that we lead in cases, that's because we have more testing than anybody else. So we test much more than anybody else. Again, we're close to 14 million. It was said 12 and a half. It's actually, I think, close to 14 million now. And so we have 14 million tests. In Germany, if they do 2 million, that's a lot. And others are doing 1 million. So if you're testing 14 million people, you're going to find many more cases. Many of these people aren't very sick, but they still go down as a case. So actually the number of cases, and we're also a much bigger country than most. So when we have a lot of cases, I don't look at that as a bad thing. I look at that as, in a certain respect, as being a good thing, because it means our testing is much better. So if we were testing 1 million people instead of 14 million people, we would have far fewer cases, right? So I view it as a badge of honor. Really, it's a badge of honor. It's a great tribute to the testing and all of the work that a lot of professionals have done. Okay?
It's a badge of honor.
Imagine if we ever got
What are you doing?
We would be such good friends.
And you still gonna do it. You still gonna do it. We don't want no ad. Let me out of here. All right, not only did he not close down the country, Yeah, I just did on the driver. Yeah. I can do it again if you want. President Trump said today, it's a badge of honor to have the most cases in the world. It's a badge of honor for us to have more dead than anybody else in the world. There's nobody anywhere near 90,000 dead. So even if they ain't testing everybody, I'm sure they testing the dead. Will that make sense? I'm sure they testing the dead. So somebody please explain to me. I don't know what's going on, y'all. We seem to be having problems today. Like I said, I don't know what's going on. But the president said that because we test more, we got more cases. I say, are the other countries not counting their dead? How you not count the dead? This screen is freezing, but we ain't. I don't understand that. I know this phone company need to do its job. I know that. I want to test something right now, and I shouldn't, but why not? If something go wrong, go wrong. Let me do a refresh. Let me do a restart. We're gonna see if this phone can push. We're gonna see if this phone can push the live stream on its mobile hotspot. We're gonna see. Can it push the live on its mobile hotspot? We already got the sermon done. But can it push? Go to LTE. Will you earn your keep today? Come on, phone, you move slower than dirt. Why isn't it just thank you? That's all you had to do. That was all you had to do. Sucks. Come on, before we all die, man. Let's go. You're killing me with this slowness. Let's go. You ain't done nothing all day but run the show. You ain't but show the show. You ain't done nothing. We doing a speed test. We doing 5 up. Actually, you can see. We did 11 up and we did 6.3 down. Do it again. We're doing a speed test on this phone. You done yet? All right, so it's doing 12 up. All right. Definitely on band 2 doing 100. And we about to Wi-Fi hotspot. Turn it on. Are we back live? All right, how we doing? How we doing? Come on. Can she hold it? Can she hold it? 0? How you doing 0? Let me make sure this Wi-Fi not on. Turn it off. This says weak charging. What do you mean weak charging? Okay, that should be charged. Okay. Come on. So why ain't working that? If you found it, so the Wi-Fi hotspot doing terrible. Oh no. Shit. God damn it. put it back the wrong way. God damn. It's upside down. Can you flip it? No. All right, so we should be reconnected. Now, we gotta fix the webcam. Okay. What happened? No, we don't need to change that. We'll just go inside, go to filters, crop pad, default. Okay. We got this the wrong way. That's the problem. So it knocked out the whatchamacallit. Oh, we don't need that. So why is it not connecting? Oh Lord. On the power button. How do I get off the power button? So on the power button. So it's the wrong way. I don't want that. Still gonna do it, ain't you? What? Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. You win, devil. You win. You're winning, sir. I'm busting my butt here. It's like I'm losing. Is that even it? Come on. So I am live. Yeah. Okay, close. So now, where's the old webcam? You piece of crack. There it is, a piece of crack. So now, this is a loss. This is a loss. This is a loss right here. And you gonna take a dump. Silly cat. And that cable fell down again. Can we take it out? Can we take the cable out? Why is it? Oh my God, I'm doing the wrong one. That's why. Come on. Well, you taking your time. I ain't never seen nothing like this. And I'm patient as I don't know what. Whatever. We gonna get it done. We gonna get it done. Default. I'm patient. We'll get it done. Why am I cloudy? All right, so are we live? I can just knock that out. But anyway, now, you ain't doing your job, sir. You ain't doing your job. You need to be fired. So let's go to airplane mode. Just keep me busy. Anything but let me run the show, right? Anything but let me run the show. We already did the sermon, so you can have this. We already done the sermon, so I ain't even gonna sweat it.